Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Hey Sister, how you doing?
Hey, sister, just deciding when I'm going to start running my air conditioner. It's already in the 80s here.
Yes, well, we've had a little bit of up and down in the weather over here in the sunny, sunshine state of Florida. If you're tuning in tonight, let us know where you're watching at. And we want you to join the conversation in the comments. So be sure to be active in the comments because tonight is the first Sunday of the month. And what do? It's all about the what?
Hot
Hot
topic.
topics. And these are hot topics we want to talk about. And certainly if there's something you want to talk about, drop it in the comments. We also want you to like, follow, share, subscribe. Um, you know, Keep spreading the good word about Hey Sister, what we're doing and what we're building on this platform. And being in a part of our community, we want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of the Hey Sister family. And we are open and accepting new friends and family members, but they got to act right. Okay? How about that? We always got the ones that don't want to act right,
Yeah,
right,
that's what make the party fun.
sister? That's for sure. If you are tuning in, let us know where you're watching from, and we want to say welcome to Women's History Month. So you have on one of our favorite quotes and a shirt that we picked up at the Civil Rights Museum when we were in Memphis, right?
Yes, I think it was Memphis. Yeah, that feels right. It's just,
Come on.
I mean, there's one. We've been to a bunch of civil rights museums.
Yes, we have. We have. Yes,
So
we
I
have.
know there's one like in Birmingham as well, and I know I picked up some posters and stuff there. So I don't know. I think this was in Memphis though.
All right. And it says, it's a quote by Laurel Thatcher Ulrich, and it says, well behaved women seldom make history, and there has never been a truer comment. And so, while tonight we're going to focus on hot topics, for the rest of the month, we are going to be bringing you some women who are making history. And we're so lucky to be a part of a great community of women who are always making history. At least I say that. So if you're a woman making history, drop in the comments. Let us know what type of history you are making. But tonight we getting ready for the high topics. We got Hey Gail Hill in Cincinnati, Ohio, tuning in. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Thanks for watching. She's definitely a woman making history. Um, and let me tell you, okay. So before we get into all the other things, I'm gotta talk. I've been talking about this since Friday. Silk Sonic, which is going to be the debut album, a collaboration between Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. And so, little known fact, I already have all of Bruno Mars. I already had all of Bruno Mars albums before 24 Karat. I know some of y'all got hip to him at 24 Karat, but I had already had him from Young Hooligans. Okay, listen. Did you hear that? Leave the door open, sister.
I didn't.
Oh, sister.
I know you posted it multiple times, but I've been out here working. Okay, I got things happening in my life right now.
I shared the Spotify link for you to listen on Spotify. I shared the YouTube link for you to watch the video, and you ain't listen one time yet.
I didn't know this was gonna be a hot topic, or else I would have jumped right on that.
Oh man, I have to listen. We
I
gotta
thought
talk
Dr.
about it.
Maurice also shared it. So
Who?
clearly, Dr. Mo.
Yes, yes. Many people have shared it. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm not gonna run it right at this moment, but all I'm gonna say is if you haven't listened to it, if you haven't heard it yet, go get it. It is fantastic. It's awesome. I'm gonna just drop the link. Look, I'm about to play it for y'all, but I'm gonna drop the link for the YouTube video so y'all can go listen to it. It has that great old school vibe. You're not gonna want to miss it. You're gonna love it very much. So make sure y'all go check out Silk Sonic and Leave the Door Open. So we got several folks tuning in. We got Hey Jaime Sanchez in Woodland Hills, California. We got Gloria Wright Coulter in California as well. Arnetta in San Antonio. Let's see.
That,
Gloria,
yeah, she was
oh, okay.
in Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa, Cal. Yeah. All right, fantastic. Well, we're super excited to have all of y'all tonight. Y'all go listen to this Silk Sonic, Leave the Door Open. Bring some romance back into the world. But one of the hottest topics that also dropped on Friday, March 5th, was Coming to America. All right, sister. What do you think? Let's just talk about what you think. Forget what the critics said and what people have said. What did you think when you watched Coming to America?
I actually don't really know what the critics said. I know you and I have talked about what they've supposedly said, and I have not read any commentary about it. I thought it was very well done, and not from this, like you and I have discussed. Okay, is it a cinematic tour de force? No, I mean, but then again, neither was the first one. But talk about going back down memory lane and just feeling a little bit of your youth come back, your youthfulness come back. It's like the genius of Eddie Murphy to be able to tell the exact same story, but in a different way. That's pretty great, I think. And I also, love seeing all of the actors from the previous movies, those who are still with us on the earth, play a role in this. It was fun. It was funny. I enjoyed it. For all the, cultural critics out there, I don't know what they were looking for, but I thought it was a great way to poke fun at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And to, do it in a way of, recreating all these characters that we've come to love. And, Zamunda, like I said, it was our Wakanda before we had a Wakanda, it was one of the earliest images of Africa that I can remember being portrayed, where it wasn't about, starving children or animals on safari, or quote unquote uncivilized people. It was about a wealthy, kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And they, who opted to come to America to find true love, and it played out. And I thought it was cute. So I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I love what you said here is that, Zamunda was Wakanda before we had a Wakanda, right? It was that, and even thinking about it being recreated in the Remember the Time video, right? Remember Michael Jackson redid that whole scene in Remember the Time.
Which is one of my favorite videos of all time.
Which also was very much of a cultural kind of like apex, like in culture, right? And so I enjoyed the movie. And what I want to say to folks is, and I've seen a lot of commentary that's similar. So look, 33 years ago, when you go back 33 years ago, where you were at that point in time, you're not that same person. So if it did not land with you the same way it did 33 years ago, it shouldn't. That's the point, because you're not the same person. If someone goes back, and if people ever watch Animal House, or if they watch Porky, go back and watch those movies today, and it probably won't land the same. And that's because you're not the same. I think they did a really clever job, as you said, to pick out those pieces and parts about misogyny and about how culture has changed, gentrification. Because, right, Queens don't look like it did 33 years ago, right? Neither does Brooklyn look like it did 33 years ago, or Harlem, for that matter, right? And so for them to, bring out those little nuances, for them to find, it was Peaches and
her sister.
And her sister. Look, hey, I was glad to see Peaches and her sister. Okay.
Me too.
Yes. And so I just think that it was like we said, it was an almost identical duplication with some throwback references that if you missed them the first time you saw Coming to America, you certainly was gonna miss them now. And then it was also an update on some of the things that they have changed over the years. I thought it was funny. I thought it was cute. I thought it was cringeworthy, and I thought it was silly. And right now, we could use a little more silly in our life. Personally, that's what I think. I want a little more silly. Tell us what you think in the comments. I see we have one here saying that they did it for the culture.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. And critics won't like it. It's for us. And hey, some of us have been the worst critics from what I have been reading. Some of us have been the worst critics. And I think we forget that, again, the first one was just as silly, just as cringeworthy, but it was something that was new and different, right? And an exposure to an African country like we had never seen. The use of costumes, and with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall and the different characters. There were so many things that we hadn't seen before. A lot of the jokes, they were very subtle, and you didn't get them the first time, second time. Most of the jokes, they went over here, but when we were hanging with my friends at school and they were talking about all these little pieces and parts, and they tell jokes about the jokes in the movie, then it becomes, more hysterical than it ever really was. But it made me smile, and right now I like smiling. How about that?
Well, and I just wanted to say, you pointed out with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, we were talking about this earlier. There was a genius there. We do know that others have done the dressing up, right? As a woman, for example, like, Tyler Perry, obviously everybody knows Medea, right? But there was a genius in not just dressing up and playing another character. It was playing multiple other characters, and men and women. There was a genius in that, and because if you think about how hard that is to execute, you got to be pretty good at what you're doing to sit there and be talking to yourself, and make it look, like
believable. Yeah,
believable. When we talked about the costumes, Ruth Carter did the costumes here. Ruth Carter did the costumes in Black Panther. Ruth Carter did the costumes in, like you said, all the way back to School Days.
School Days.
To see somebody of that caliber to be a part of this, and to have, and the costumes were fabulous. Okay.
The costumes were everything.
Then 33, because now that you put it in the context of 33 years, and you said, well, what were you doing? I just realized I was 10 years old, 33 years ago. Mm-hmm. So definitely believe that I've shifted a little bit since then. But that Fatima Robinson is still choreographing 33 years later. And it's like, wow.
Still fire.
Yes.
Still fire.
Yes. The fact that Tiana Taylor got 2 babies and she came out there like what?
Snatched to the gods.
Bodied up. Like that Gabrielle, what's her name? No. Beauvais Nyland. What is her first name? Garcelle Beauvais Nyland. That her face still looking nice and had it together. Even having Vanessa Bell Calloway reprise her role, and she was looking a mess, but still a very beautiful woman, right? Everything about it. I mean, I was like, yo, I think I want to have my funeral before I die.
And who do you want singing? Who do you want singing? Do you want John Legend to sing Queen to Be?
Well, maybe, maybe Salt Pepper will come. I don't know. But I'm like, I thought, my biggest thing was, dang, why ain't nobody called me for the movie? Everybody else was in it.
Oh, we got a comment here. It says, Eddie in an interview with, I think that's Oprah, said, Oprah did not know it was him playing multiple parts. The first time, probably, and many people didn't know he was playing multiple parts. I mean, and then he did that again in
Most
in
people
the
know it from Nutty Professor.
Professor. Yeah, yes.
But
You know, all I know is I love Coming to America. I love for what it stands for. I love it for what it is in the context that it is.
yeah.
Ruth Carter should win for costume design. She should definitely win another Oscar for costume design. But is the movie going to win anything? No, and it don't need to. You know, it just
But
it
then
made me feel good.
remember when Joan Vassar was here and she
Mm-hmm.
basically said, like, if she measured her writing based on what she sold
Other
or
folks said.
other
Mm-hmm.
folk standards, she probably wouldn't be a writer. Or
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that. And like, don't get me wrong. There are times and there are things, there are movies where it makes sense for us to have a more critical uh opinion about them. There are those things that some people will be like, "Oh, that was great," and I'm like, not really. And then, but then there are other things that it's okay. It's a comedy, and so it's okay to like laugh. And I think it's punctuated by Randy Watson again.
Randy Watson.
When we see the old man
Because
who
I got sexual chocolate with me. We
yes.
are family.
Yes.
And I got sexual chocolate
With
with
me. And
me.
when you see the old man who first said that boy good in the first one, and now he just jamming along with him, that is what it can be. All of us
Yeah.
may not love a Randy Watson, but for those who do, let us embrace it and let us enjoy it and be glad in it.
Amen and hallelujah. But we're going to go on to our next hot topic of the evening. And we talk about grown men just don't get it. Andrew Cuomo. I'm going to let you start off telling us about this while
No,
I drink.
you have to let me start. I don't know what to say. I
I'm
mean,
going to just take some sip of my water from my wine glass. Y'all see what? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, sister.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't know what to say. I was the other day. I thought we were still talking about the nursing home. Then y'all hit me with Andrew had been accused by two women of sexual improprieties or harassment, and then I got hit with the third one, and she had a picture because she was at the wedding. He was really up in her face. And then, I heard on the news this morning, Andrew said he apologized. He didn't realize, again, as we said, 33 years ago, it wasn't 33 years ago, but I'm just saying, times change. Andrew said he's sorry. He ain't know. Times have changed. He didn't say he's sorry for anything he did. He didn't say he did anything wrong. He just said if he hurt your feelings, he's sorry because he didn't know. Well,
So,
let me find his exact quote.
find his exact quote. Why are you looking for the exact quote? So I want to say this. There is a conversation that still needs to be had about how how we interpret things and how we interpret words, how we interpret actions. Because I do believe there can be a hypersensitivity to something, right? Not saying that's the truth in this case, but I'm just saying there can be a hypersensitivity. Because when the first report came out, it was like he put his hand on her bare back, and she had on a backless dress. So I was like, if somebody come up to you and touch you, they're gonna touch your bare back because your back is bare. So I felt like the way they were writing that, they were trying to sensationalize that point. The bigger point is, don't put your hands on nobody unless they ask you to put your hands on them. Don't just walk up to anybody thinking that you have carte blanche to take up their personal space, to touch their shoulder, to hug them, to do anything. Ask. So there is this fine line, this distinction that we definitely have to talk about. Someone can say something that's inappropriate versus someone that's saying something that's harassment, right? Because there's degrees to this, there's levels to this thing.
Mhm.
And I think we need to like really dig into some of these levels. And I'm sure what the investigation is going to come out and a lot of things. But I would say this, in the year of our Lord 2020, a man who have daughters in their 20s, your ass should know better. Because you should have had a conversation with your daughter should have let you know better. What music you playing, sister?
I think that's from the. I was trying to put the quote there, and
Oh.
we started playing some music. Sorry. Now, I mean, listen. You know, this is always a tough one because let's face it, we live in a patriarchal society, a sexist society, a misogynistic society. So, and for so long in this country, there has been white male privilege that has, in many ways, allowed people, white men specifically, to believe that they have carte blanche over anyone's body, and that women don't have agency, and women, I mean, that has been codified in law where women didn't have agency over their own body, even in this country. The
And
one,
black people and black women specifically, and children.
and right, and in this place where we look at other countries where someone might wear a hijab, or who has to cover themselves in a certain way, we look at other places and thumb our nose at them. But like literally, this is what this country is has been built on. So I get it. I get that he probably, I didn't know.
In his 60-something-year-old mind, he probably does believe that, because that's what he's been able to do his whole life.
Yeah. And so now that people are saying, no, it's not cool. You made me feel uncomfortable or what have you. Again, he's seriously believes. I mean, look, we saw. Again, I watched the whole Borat film to get to the end where the woman was in the room with Rudy Giuliani, because I wanted to see for myself, what precisely did he do? What was he doing? And, again, now I'm like, bruh, it ain't no way you was adjusting your microphone, whatever. But they've been selling these stories for so long. That's what they really believe. I didn't do anything wrong. I just
and they've been and again, even as recent as a few years ago with the I can't remember what school the young man went that raped the woman, the swimmer,
Stanford, you mean?
And Stanford, right? I think it was Stanford.
Yeah.
And the judge saying, "Oh well, we're gonna ruin his life."
Right.
He raped the woman. Like this still get. So when those behaviors, like, to me, that was very clear. That's an extreme. That's not even, again, there's levels, right? Because that's on all the way extreme. And a judge could not look at that white boy and say, no, you need to go to jail, and you need to go to jail for a very long time, and you need to pay the consequences for what you did.
Right.
So of course Andrew Cuomo will be like, I didn't know it made you uncomfortable. Because this on this side, we know it has gone all the way to the extreme, and it's still been like, oh, but you come from a good family.
Right. I mean, we put Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court after all of the allegations, after all of the things that were stated, and after the proof. And it was still like, but that was so long ago.
And Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton, and on and on and on and on. So I don't know. We got a comment here that says, please, all the white men politicians behave like Cuomo. It's like drinking water to them. Possibly. I don't know. All I know is this. The reckoning continues. The reckoning continues. And so what are we going to do, and what are we going to demand of others? And are we going to demand equality in this? are we still going to be, we only hold certain people to a standard? Because you have this other young congressman at 25 years old who has told lie upon lie upon lie. Mr. whatever his name is, Cawthorn, Madison.
Right. Madison in the wheelchair, who is the new
who has harassed women, who have and they have the claims of harassment, they have claims of assault, they have claims of so not just harassment, not just making you feel uncomfortable or being inappropriate, because as I said, there's levels to this. Saying something, that comment that's inappropriate or make somebody uncomfortable, versus harassing somebody all the way over to the end line of actually physical or sexual assault, right? There's this whole through line. There's a through line. He's been accused of the worst of it. He's been accused of even lying about the accident that ended him up in a wheelchair, and saying his friend left him in a burning inferno, and that wasn't true. And even his parents said that wasn't true. And folks still elected him. They still elected him to represent them. And there's still many, many allegations out there. Are we going to hold all of these people equally and equitably accountable? Because when I say equitably accountable, I do believe the punishment should be equitable to the offense. That's my 2 cents.
I believe the punishment should be equitable to the offense, but I also feel like, but you have a lot of people serving time, actual time, for even less. And so if we're talking about equitable to the offense, I want it to be equitable to the other punishments that have been doled out for other people who don't have the privilege of white skin. And I'm not even suggesting that it's just limited to men. I'm sure that there are women who have exercised the same sort of behavior, inappropriate behavior. But what I will say is, and I could possibly be in the minority here, I really think that the timing of all intriguing to me. Not only with the nursing home scandal piece of it, right? But just overall, Cuomo was the star, of the pandemic recovery. He was very critical of the previous administration, rightfully so. And he had, I believe his little star was rising. And we know that everybody don't like everybody's star to rise. So I just find it to be very interesting, the timing of all of this, because Andrew, I don't know how long he's been governor of New York.
Child, he done been governor for 3 terms. He could go somewhere and sit down.
Okay, I knew it had been a while. So yeah, the timing of these allegations and the backlash, and because let me go back. Last thing I'm gonna say about this, again, I watched The View. And just a few weeks ago, when they were exposing the nursing home scandal, just the fury from Meghan McCain, he needs to be removed right now. I was like, this all feels this feels like it's something more than just about the nursing home at the time. So now this coupled with the nursing home, coupled with the harassment charges, or accusations, the harassment accusations, the timing is very interesting. That's all.
So it's all very interesting, like you said, because in terms of the reporting of data, not accurately reporting data about nursing home deaths versus actually here in the state of Florida, where the governor totally had them not report all the data accurately around coronavirus. I'm not talking about just nursing home, but all the data, and actually had the data scientists who fired, who then had her arrested. Okay.
Yeah. So
that leads us to another topic that's related to this kind of similar stuff. # cancel culture. I want all of you in the sound of my voice. And I know some of y'all are watching Megan and Oprah them right now. We're going to talk about that in a minute because, of course, that's a hot topic. But I want everybody within the sound of my voice. So go ahead and remove this phrase from your terminology. Remove it from your vocabulary because there ain't no such thing. It is an excuse for not wanting to be held accountable. And the fact is, if I make a choice to not spend my money, because cancelability means like me making a decision, like, I'm not, how you cancel your subscription. I don't want to use Netflix no more. So what? I cancel Netflix. How about that? If I don't want to use, how many of y'all still have Pandora account? You cancel that. You got a free one or a paid one.
Oh, I have a free one. I never had.
There you go. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Cancel. Okay, you have a choice of who you support and how long you support them. And when you make a decision, you know what? I don't rocks with you no more. That don't mean I may not come back to you at some point in time, but right now we're not rock. How about that? If you're being held accountable, Andrew Cuomo, because you know what? The way you did this, you were not transparent and honest. We're going to hold you accountable. You being held accountable. But it was really interesting to me how the people who are bemoaning and going on and making the loudest remarks about cancel culture were the same people who demonized Colin Kaepernick, were the same people who demonized Black Lives Matter protesters. So it's convenient when accountability and responsibility is being asked of you to say, oh, I'm being canceled. I'm being persecuted. Like dumb, bum, crazy Senator Ron Johnson with all of these conspiracy theories. Oh, this cancel culture. No, you've revealed your ignorance, so people aren't rocking with you no more. They ain't cancel you. They just like, oh, no. The idiocy continues. No. Let me see. Oh, we got lots of comments coming up on this one. they short comments, one word, but yes. Sister, what do you say?
I say that if I want to cancel somebody, I have the right to cancel that person. And I was a huge Kanye West fan. Huge Kanye West fan. In fact,
you introduced me to Kanye West. I didn't even know nothing about the college dropout.
Listen, in fact, I was going through my.
You can rap all them lyrics right now, can't you?
Just from the college dropout, but I was going through
about that workout plan. Come on, say it.
my old folder the other day of entertainment companies that I wanted to work with, and I was like, oh wow, it had Kanye West, Rockefeller, blah 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 blah, and I was like, apparently I had written it down, right? But would I go to a Sunday supper? Absolutely not. Have I bought another album since late registration? I have not. It's certain, like you said, I am not going to spend my time, my money, my energy on certain people if I don't believe that you have a desire to be better. At the end of the day, it's not about canceling, it's about choosing. Mm-hmm. I choose not to support people who don't like people who look like me, who don't support women, who push conspiracy theories. That's not canceling anybody. No, it is. I'm choosing to cancel you, but I think so my first problem with the term, first of all, is like, you know what cancel culture is? Appropriation. Something else you stole from us. Like, that's what cancel culture is, because I don't even feel like y'all was using that term like that. Now, all of a sudden, you got white politicians, old white men who don't even know how to get on the interwebs right, talking about some cancel culture. What? How y'all just gonna take our stuff like that? but I know how.
All the time, every day.
But yeah, I'm like, no.
As I drink my water from my wine glass. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So that's I'm just like, no, this whole idea of, you know, like I said, Meghan McCain going on her rants about cancel culture and all that stuff. Look, it's my prerogative. I do what I want to do. I made this money. You did, right, Ted? That's what my prerogative. Anyway, if I choose to support you, I choose to support you. If I choose not to support you, I choose not to support you. And like you said, I can put you down for a little while. If I feel like I want to pick you back up again, I can do that too. So if after Kanye and Kim, the ink dry on their divorce, and if his mind just all of a sudden go and if it snap back like Tiana Taylor body, and he get out of he get out of the sunken place and come out with some fire music, I might have to be like, dang, Kanye, you know.
I ain't gonna buy it. I'll listen to it on, you know, I'll listen to it maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just saying, the main point that I'm saying is we have the ability to choose who we support and who we don't support with our eyeballs, if it's on television, with our dollars, if it's buying their products or what have you. And people fall off. But you know what? If they redeem themselves, you have the opportunity to say again, you know, I support this person again, because God rested dead, but remember when Kobe Bryant was canceled?
Remember.
Nobody, you know, they don't want to talk about how this young man was completely demonized. And then he was the greatest all over again.
Like we said, we like to, so I heard someone use the word demonize and deify. And that's right. We want people. So Martin Luther King was canceled.
Yeah.
Right. But then in his death, now he's like the greatest thing that ever lived and walked the face of the earth, because we don't want to be honest about, you know, that he was a human being. Right.
Tiger Woods, we talked about last
Tiger Woods. Yeah.
His accident and they wearing, you know, the black and the maroon shirts and the black pants and everybody rah Tiger. But like Tiger was canceled hard, the butt of all the jokes when Elon came out with swinging. So yeah, you have people put people down and then they pick them back up. It happens. Anyway. I like demonize and what it is? Deify. I like
yes. That. So someone, Gloria said this is a diversion by people that want Andrew unseated because too many folks applauded him in the face of the president at the time. Very well could be true. We had a lot of amen and then thank you and exactly up over here. We also had kind of like tweets okay before, but cabinet nominees are being scrutinized now for their tweets. And in terms of Neera Tanden withdrawing her nomination to be over the OMB because of just a litany of tweets and, you know, but again, it's accountability to me, because my thing is, girl, you knew at some point you was going to want to be back in this politics game. I don't know why you had over 1,000 tweets that you had to scrub from Twitter. You know what I'm saying? You might have been on team too much. Like there's a way, a lot of folks are on team too much. And A, everything is not even worthy of your comment. B, some of your thoughts and comments change over time. So you need to think, is this even worthy of commenting at this point in time? But that's another conversation for another day. But like I said, cancel culture, remove it from your vocabulary because it does not exist. And you make the choice of who you want to spend your dollars with, where you want to spend your dollars, and how you want to hold politicians and people who are in positions of leadership. Notice I said positions of leadership. I didn't say leaders, but people who are in positions of leadership accountable for their actions and their words. Because actually, if y'all want to cancel somebody, West Virginia, y'all need to cancel y'all senator, because y'all like one of the poorest states in the nation, and he don't even want to raise the federal minimum wage to $15. How about
that? And they canceled Jesus. I just want to throw that out there.
And what?
I said, and they canceled Jesus. I just want to throw that out there.
So they talking about they canceled Dr. Seuss. No, they said they didn't cancel Dr. Seuss. They said these 6 books, because of imagery in these books, we're no longer going to print them. The ones that are out there, they out there. If you got them, if you got the whole Dr. Seuss collection, then you got it. Otherwise, we not printing them no more. But then they say, oh, Dr. Seuss, this, or they're canceling. Nobody canceled Dr. Seuss. You can
No,
go buy all
the people who own the rights to Dr. Seuss canceled them. They made
the Dr. Seuss Foundation made the choice to not publish certain books anymore because of some of the imagery in the book. You go back and watch those old Looney Tunes cartoons. They full of demeaning imagery. We talked about Zamunda being their first representation of Black culture, Black excellence in Africa. You go back and watch some old Bugs Bunny episodes with them being witch doctors and trying to boil people. Okay, come on, stop it. Oh, child, listen. Let's talk about why we'd rather not be royals. You know, there was a song by, what was her name? Oh man, her name is right? Yes. We'd rather be royal. We'd rather not be royal. I know some of y'all, a lot of y'all are gonna watch this and be watching this in a replay because y'all are watching Oprah, Meghan, and Harry.
No, it's right Lord. Now. I'm sorry, Lord. Royals. Lord. Okay.
Lord, sorry. That I confused you with MIA.
It was
all I know is they trying to clean. They talking about, they like the song said, we're trying to clean up what a messed up. David and Ross is trying to clean it up because Meghan and Kat, look, they like me. They sipping water in their wine glass.
Well,
they about to tell it. They about to do a Usher. If I'm gonna tell it, then I got, because when I heard just a preview of the interview and she referred to him as the firm, I was like, dang.
Olivia Pope situation, is it?
No, you know the firm. You remember the firm with Tom Cruise, the movie The Firm, child. So if you haven't heard, you really have to be living under a rock. But I know you have a very strong take about the Royals, so I'm gonna let you kind of throw that take out there. But you know, I just want to know, when are we in this country going? I thought we canceled the British a long time ago. Like, I thought that was the whole 1776 thing was about canceling the British. Wasn't that what the whole revolution was about? Canceling the British? I'm just saying. But we still, every time they have a baby, get a marriage, do or anything, we got something to say. Move on. It's on you, sister.
Oh, I mean, you said move on. I was like, all right, we can move on. No, I think what I was saying earlier was when we were talking about in the context of coming to America, and we were talking about the fact that people are up in arms about coming to America, being about, you know, having these misogynistic undertones, I guess. I don't know. You know more of the pushback than I did. And I was just like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me people are angry over a fictitious royal family with patriarchy, misogyny, sexism, racism, when there's like a literal royal family that we constantly celebrate all the time? Like you said, every baby that's born, every wedding that's planned, every picture that's taken, that we're constantly enamored over, that has real life misogyny, patriarchy, sexism, and racism. I'm like tripping off of that. I don't understand how we reconcile some of this stuff in our minds. You know, they're saying that the Duke and Duchess could potentially lose their titles after this interview. I think they'll be fine either way. From what I heard, Harry saying it was just the fact that, you know, some of the things that he saw happening to his wife, he saw happen to his mother, and he basically couldn't sit by and let that happen. So, you know, we knew it was going to be something when The brown mama showed up for the wedding. I mean, we knew it. So, and I think the thing that's always so interesting to me is that, you know, the British have a way that even if they're not that bright, but they have this lovely accent, so we just automatically they just sound great, right? So it seems like we're just enamored by their culture and by the fact that they have this monarchy and all of this stuff. But it's like, can we talk about what's really behind that monarchy? You are a fan of The Crown. I haven't watched The Crown. I haven't watched a lot of those Downton Abbey. I did watch Bridgerton like the rest of everybody. And, you know, and again, that feeds into the romanticized aspects of what that was. But, you know, the monarchy is a whole hot mess. And they colonized many countries. They enslaved many people. They are still living off of the backs of
that free labor.
Right. Still living off of that. Talk about where the money resides and not have to go to a job any day. For real.
Ever.
Right. So I think that, you know, if we're going to be up in arms about anything, we should stop to me, this is like, again, like the plantations and stuff. Let's stop romanticizing these things. Let's tell the truth about it. We're not surprised that Meghan Markle was treated like an outcast. She's got a little bit of hint of tan in her skin. So it's no surprise there.
And that's another kind of a little secret. You know, they want to say, oh, because, you know, Great Britain, they stopped enslaving people before the, you know, United States.
They probably started enslaving them before.
You started like a long time before. Like, are you kidding me? Stop it. You know, so yes, racism exists everywhere. The impacts around the world, because I believe that a lot of the vestiges of what we see in terms of culture, of race, of classism is all because of the impacts of the British Empire. That the Queen Elizabeth, who sits on the throne as the queen now, it's been a part of for centuries. So part of the class and the caste system and what we see in India is because they were colonized by the British. Right. What we see in the raping and pillage of the land and the murder and of indigenous people and taking away their culture in Australia, right? I mean, literally took Aboriginal children from their families, it stripped them of their names, and, you know, like you because you have to learn to live this way so you will be civilized, right? And hey, when people talk about the founding of this country, those people who own the plantation, the cotton and the tobacco and the sugar, a lot of them were of British heritage. Now, of course, we had some Spanish, we had some other, but many of it the founding of this Britain. This was a British colony. The 13 colonies were British colonies, people. So I just think that we need to like let it go.
And let's keep it real. I ain't one to believe that Diana just happened to have this driver who just happened to be whatever. She also was dating a man who was Arabic, was it? So come on, like we
already know Harry ain't y'all's son. Now y'all keep out there be trying to tell that lie. We know who he for. We know who she had an affair with. Y'all need to stop with all these lies. We see he looked just like that man, and y'all still want to act like it ain't true. Child, please. He ain't for Charles. We know he ain't for Charles. And I just don't know when Camilla was married to her husband, which one of her children is for Charles, because they was having an affair the whole time. He never stopped having a relationship with the woman while he was married and while she was married. Come on, people. We'd rather not be royals. Yes, I'm just gonna say that. How about that? How about that? Anyway, well, we have one more topic that we want to get into before we close out. And we're going to actually ask this question to all of our guests for the remainder of the month because this is Women's History Month. And that topic is going to be about meritocracy. So, sister, I know you wanted to bring this topic up, especially this month as it relates to women, Black women, women of color, Indigenous women, this whole concept around meritocracy. So I'm gonna let you have it.
Yeah, it's been interesting over the last few weeks. For example, just different things have happened where this topic of meritocracy has percolated to the top of my mind. And I guess it's partially because we just came out of Black History Month and just entered Women's History Month. And so one of the things that, I recently attended a webinar, and it was about networking and and doing your networking map and blah, blah, blah. And of course, the topic that the problem with a lot of women who don't get promoted is that we believe in the system of meritocracy. We believe that we will, if we just do a good job, all right, that our work will be recognized and we'll get promoted. And it just like, I was like, do you think men are over there doing relationship mapping? Are they drawing little circles and trying to figure out who's in and who's outside of the circle and who they need to talk to the next person? Maybe it happens in some fundamental way, but I believe it happens because naturally they are taught from the start that it's not about what you do. It very much is about who you know. And so it also made me think about, attending an HBCU. And I often somewhat joke and say, one of the shortcomings of an HBCU is they don't teach us how to be fake. If like, I don't like you, I just don't like you and I don't mess with you. And it's like, girl, you over there and I'm over here and we just don't mess with each other. Everybody know we don't mess with each other, and it's cool like that. But that I see when you get into corporate America, of course, you see that there are men, for example, white men particularly, who they can't stand the person next to them. That don't stop them from working with them. That don't stop them from making money with them. And so it made me think of this notion of, you have to be twice as good to get half as much. We're often taught that as Black people. You have to be twice as good to get half as much. And I often wondered, is that a meritocracy mindset? Or are we suggesting that people have to be twice as good in terms of their education, in terms of their skill set, in terms of their knowledge base to get half as much? Or do we have to be just like kind of equally as good from an education skill set standpoint? But where we need to up our game maybe is in the networking and the connections and the political piece. So I wanted to just talk about meritocracy and hear people's thoughts about that. And does it even, and I think you posed a great question when we talked about this in the pre-show, does it even exist? Mm-hmm. Like, are we doing our young people a disservice, young women and people of color specifically, by telling them to go find a good job, keep your head down, stay out of the politics, and you'll be rewarded? And I don't think that's how it works. Mm-hmm. So meritocracy, just a thought. What are your thoughts, sister?
Well, I definitely would love people, whoever's still out there watching to drop in the comments and let us know. So for me, kind of like with cancel culture, I think meritocracy is a concept, it's an idea, but just because of how we're socialized in this country, how our educational system's set up, how the vestiges, the residue of all of the structural systems that we have, I think we have convinced ourselves that there's a meritocracy, but a meritocracy really doesn't exist. Give you an example from Coming to America. When he went into the job interview, and the character who plays the new young prince, and was being interviewed by Colin Jost of SNL. And he said, "Oh, so tell me about, how, you grew up." First thing, before he went to interview, his uncle told him, "Don't use your white voice." Right? You heard that, right? Because that whole thing about code switching. How can there be a meritocracy when I can't even show up as my authentic self? Because I should be just judged by the basis of my merit and my capability and my competency. But if I've had to code switch my whole life, then meritocracy obviously does not exist. As they go into the interview and he asks him questions, and he said, "Well, let me ask you, because he was like, "Oh, tell me about your education," and it was like, "Oh, well, let me ask you, you you didn't get any help," because he's like, how they like to use this term, "because I worked really hard." "Oh yeah, but and your daddy didn't make a donation to school?" "Well, no, just a little building off campus. He didn't really do. A little what? A
little library off campus.
Just a little library off campus. He ain't really donating a building to the school. Just a little library off campus." Okay. Oh yeah, and then getting you out of your hiding that you had to go to rehab for coke. Well, no, it really was a coke. It was an oxy, but my mom did that. They got all that. And so, there are people who, and I hear them say it, and I've even seen, you've mentioned her name a couple of times, and I don't really like mentioning her name, but you've mentioned her name a couple of times tonight, because of how much you watch The View and Meghan McCain. And I've even heard people like her say, "Oh, I've worked so hard." Girl, if your name was in McCain, you wouldn't have even got the internships that you got when you were in college.
Right.
Like, did you really work hard? Like, now maybe at some point your efforts kicked in, but most of the doors were open to you, not based on your merit, but based on who you are, but based on your network. Right. So let's say that, based on your network, to the point that you made. So meritocracy does not exist. And I think we need to stop convincing ourselves that it does, and stop, believing that it does, and just focus on being our absolute best at all times, period. And working with people within the system, building your network, creating opportunities for yourself, creating opportunities from others, and going and growing from there. Because I do not believe meritocracy is a real thing. So it's going to be interesting as we talk about this topic more this month. So that's my take.
I will say this. I'm sorry to interrupt. That one of the things that I did recently attend since the start of the year was out of the Odyssey Media Conference. There was some coaching that took place, and one of the gems that I received was the question was, "Are you the person who gets everything done? Like, you're the go-to person to get things done?" And as was the case, because all of us in there were women, we're always like, "Yes, we are. We're the go-to people. Like, they know, they come to us, we're going to get it done." And she was like, "And that's why you're not going to get promoted."
Mm-hmm.
Because if they can't come to you, if they promote you, then who they going to go to?
Go to. Bam, and there it
is. So yeah, that was something that really stood out to me. And I think, though, as far as the networking and connections piece, I'll never forget that time we were in New Orleans for Essence Festival, walking down the street, and that young man handed us that flyer, and it said, "It ain't who you know, it's who knows you."
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, to your point, that we want to believe that we live in a meritocracy, kind of like we want to believe we live in a democracy. We want to believe in the myth of meritocracy because it makes us sound like really good people. But the fact is, the 9 out of 10 times you're going to hit a point in your career, I believe, and it's not about anything that you've done. It's only about who can vouch for you.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Well, That's it for us tonight, folks. We want to thank you for tuning in to Hey Sister. If you're watching this in a replay, please also get active in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up on any of our social media channels. We would love to engage and connect with you and hear your thoughts about our hot topics tonight. We have some fantastic guests lined up for the remainder of this month and Women's History Month. And so we're super excited about that. So with that, we're signing off. Good night, everybody.
Night.